Shelly's over here now, thanks to Pierre's remarks. You start these things in life and you just go, how was I to know where this life would lead? And it's led to wonderful things along the way and a great place today. And I have all of you to thank for that. Going back to 1997, 15 or so folks, and the budget was less than $10 million. So I did actually multiply that by 10 times in my tenure, just so you know. So Catherine, a little bit of work to do. And the biggest projects were being done by a young fellow in Alberta named Larry Simpson. And Larry! And so what did I do when I arrived at NCC? I traveled to Alberta, and I went and visited Larry, and he took me down to the Waterton Park Front Project, and where I learned about what could be done. Larry was great at having a bigger vision, and now that's 35,000 acres of conserved habitat outside Waterton Park Front, which is a wonderful accomplishment. So like so many of you, I've learned a lot over the past 20 some odd years, and it's the places that drive us, but it's, as Mike said, it's the people that make the journey. People ask me, where's your favorite place? I go, I don't know. There's like 100 of them. And like I said, everywhere. You just go everywhere. And it could be Waterton, Flathead, Darkwoods, Birch River, Norfolk Forest, Canuck, Johnson's Mills, Lloyd River Escarpment, the Old Man on His Back, which is not named after me, Prairie Preserve. And in that one, the great thing about the job is you get to go and you can go from the farm gate right to the C-suite, and you talk to all these people and learn about their passion. And when you find that passion, you can actually bring people together to make something tremendous happen. And while some of the people I've met from all walks of life, I did learn from Peter and Sharon Butala on Old Man on His Back. Sharon's a well-known author, Perfection of the Morning. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to do so. It's a great book. And Peter taught me how to just be. Don't think about anything, just be there. We would go out to the ranch, he'd talk about his dream of having bison on Old Man and His Back Prairie Preserve. And yes, today there are bison roaming on Old Man on His Back, which is wonderful. That dream happened. And then Peter would drive up to the highest hill. And if you've ever been to the southwest part of Saskatchewan, it looks like a sea of grass. It's like undulating hills of grassland. It's wonderful. We'd drive up there, we'd sit and contemplate it. A couple of times it was with Michael Bradstreet, but I kind of forgot that. And we'd go up there, and Peter always knew the right thing to say. He would look at us and he'd say, "Want a beer?" Peter was a man of few words. I guess, I don't know, Shelley, if it's true, as Peter Zowski interviewed him, and he was asked, Peter, cows are kind of stupid, aren't they? Yeah. And Peter's response to that was, they know what they need to know.
That is true.
And it's people like that, you just go, wow, I could never have thought of that. So power of stories is really important.
Thank you so much.
I remember going to Ottawa with Jim Coots, and Jim was quite a storyteller. We would go and he'd wander around Ottawa, and we'd meet up with people like Mitchell Sharp and others, and we'd go and see these folks, and Jim would go, "Hi, I'd like to introduce John Lowndes. He's the president and CEO of the Nature Conservancy Canada. He was the former Deputy Minister of Environment in Ontario." And I'm going, okay. "Hi, how are you doing?" And so I'd go afterwards, I go, Jim, I was never the Deputy Minister of Environment in Ontario." And Jim would kind of turn his head like this and he'd go, "You are now." And I think that's what's great about many of the board members. It's not only that they brought the seriousness of their profession and contacts. I think of Georgianne, I think of Bill Friedman, who would always, a wonderful scientist, who, if he saw a turkey vulture flying in the air, would go, "Look alive, folks." And I don't know if many of you have seen the cover of the book of Old Man on His Back, but it's got some pronghorn antelopes that are going around in a counterclockwise, which is opposite to the Coriolis effect in Canada. So Bill would seriously talk to the communications people going, well, you've got that picture reversed, because the Coriolis effect in North America is clockwise. In the southern hemisphere, they run counterclockwise. This person was looking at Bill going, what are you talking about? The scientist part of it's great. Going out grizzly bears. Charles Yonkel was with the University of Montana. He decided that we needed to just, eat what bears eat. So there we were eating ants. They're quite good, actually.
Oh, my
a little
Lord.
tangy, but those are the kind of great experiences you got while you're traveling at NCC. Wonderful campaign leaders, Charlie Bailey, Paul Emery, John Risley, Jim Irving, Brian Tobin, Hal Quisley, so many others who really contributed. The event where we finished our $200 million campaign, and Lynn Grant and I, we thought, okay, we can do a $300 million campaign now. So we hold a big meeting, gather everybody together, get advice. People have come, they're all saying, yeah, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. John Risley gets up and goes, not enough. 500 million. It needs to be at least 500 million. Like, we almost dropped we just couldn't deal with this. But he was right. You set big goals and you can make big things happen. So many board chairs to remember. I'm glad to see John Grant here tonight. Thank you so much for coming, John. Oh, Melanie, you weren't a board chair, but just that's nice to know. Laurie Thompson, who was the surprise board member here tonight. Bruce McClellan was here. Alana Rosenfeld, all the way from Invermere, British Columbia. Thank you so much. And now Mike Peterson here. It's just wonderful to be able to be here and share stories with everybody. A couple more. Board stories, great people on the board. They give their time, they give their treasure, they give their intelligence, they give their contacts. They've done so many wonderful things. But they also took things in stride, and one of those was at the OA Trench when we went on a field trip after a Calgary meeting.
Lord, love it, God.
And it was a beautiful day. People go for a nice hike, they see elk and deer, and it's fantastic. And then a grizzly that's actually chewing down on a cow. They see Michael Bradstreet wearing a cowhide outfit or something like that. And then a big storm rolls in. The skies open up. Everybody gets soaking wet. And this is for you, Catherine. There's nothing like seeing your board members in their underwear to really make it an equal kind of approach to things. Ah, dear. Leonard Lee said, I never cut my way to success. I always invest in the right things. He liked Bill Friedman so much, and Bill kind of looked like Groucho Marx, so we sent Bill out of the room one day, and Leonard got Groucho Marx glasses for all the board members to wear for Bill to come back in. It's just like so much fun, and I think that's what's great about NCC. You can also do all the great work and have a lot of fun. There's a few disasters that were along the way. Years when we got hammered on foreign exchange trading under the North American Wetlands Conservation Act. When we introduced a new financial system and couldn't produce our statements by the requisite year end, or even the requirements of government, that was fun. In Montreal, those of you, is Camilla here? Hi, Camilla. And others that were on the board. We were in a room and we were presenting what's happening next year, and then it was time for lunch, so we all left the room. And when we were having lunch, the people from the hotel came and said, "I'm sorry, we have to move the room that you're in." I go, "Well, why is that?" Well, the giant chandelier that was in the room had fallen on where we were all sitting, and while we were out of the room, it's like unbelievable miss there. Another one was snowmobiling with my friend Garfield Mitchell, with Larry Simpson, of course. And when you're snowmobiling out in the Crow's Nest Pass area, you need to stay on the right side or the left side of the little red flags. Garfield, of course, decided not to follow the left side where we were all traveling and thought the right side would be a good one to go. Luckily, he was going at very high speed and jumped the chasm completely.
Oh my God.
There's a whole bunch of thank yous, and I'll probably miss a bunch of people. First and foremost, the love of my life. And wonderful family, Amy, Perry, Scott, Ed, Melanie. Hi. Thank you for being there, for your love, counsel, support in this journey. You brought great joy to my life. And my friends, so many of whom are in this room, but a couple of longtime buds, Rick and Paul and Steve, who've been with me from university years. Thank you for being there and helping me figure out how to deal with Pierre from time to time.
They used my house.
But of course, you're all welcome to Pierre's house in Canmore, by the way.
Excellent, let's go.
In case. My work buds and partners in conservation crimes, Michael Bradstreet and John Riley, who have, we're not going to talk about anything about them or what we did, just to keep it quiet. Michael Ray's not here, taught me good management strategy. Karen Ray taught me about liability blockers. Like, what's a conservation guy learning about liability blockers? Kamal Rajani on foreign exchange hedging, all sorts of interesting things. And Bob Alexander, thank you so much. He kept me between the rails, well, most of the time, until he put me on a siding, and then it was bad news that day. And Lynn Gran, who kept the fun in fundraising. Too many of our friends have left too early. It doesn't happen without strong relationships and key supporters. Many of whom are here, the Shad Foundation folks, Peter Kendall and the Metcalf Foundation people have been with us kind of since I started, which I really appreciate. The folks from TD who really challenged us, Karen Clark was there somewhere, there you are, and Carolyn and others. And you know, frankly, the best thing you guys did outside of really being supportive was that you got Mike Peterson to quit his frickin' job being the U.S. banker for TD so he could become chair of NCC. And the Weston Family Foundation. I don't know if I could not say thank you to the foundation for having confidence in me and the team early, and now being with us now for more than 25 years. It's really remarkable. The past has been really fun and rewarding, and it's all thanks to all of you. The future, I think, looks even better thanks to all of you, and it does take a village. Ian Griffin, who's an Alberta board member, he's always sighed that he goes, if I could only invest in the stock of NCC, I'd really have a great portfolio. I think you should invest now, because I think even bigger things are coming. A few weeks ago, I got to visit the McIntyre Ranch in Alberta. Badgers, elk, golden eagles, pronghorn antelope. It's a wonderful place that's going to be conserved into the future. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but I'm going to announce it now. Just a fantastic place. And Paul Demery is always fond of reminding me that, and John Grant too, I have to admit, getting the right people in the right seats on the bus, that's key. And I think it's especially this time with the CEO that we have, Catherine Grenier. And Pierre stole my thunder, but in a couple of years, you've just doubled everything. And I don't know what the heck they were thinking keeping me around, but there we are. I look forward to, hearing of more, better, faster conservation and success by you and your team, and that means you, Mike Hendren, and you, Stephen McKellar, too. You got to keep ramping up, and I know it's going to be done with integrity, humility, authenticity, and grace. And I'm going to help and support where I can, and I wish you a rewarding journey filled with accomplishment, fun, joy, and maybe a couple laughs along the way. It's places and people. That's what makes the Nature Conservancy of Canada, and we're building a better world, and we're facilitating conservation dreams. And I want to thank you. Thank you for welcoming me into your lives and your homes. It's been a lifetime of great memories, and it's going to be a future filled with hope. So thank you for being here. It does mean a lot.